Hi, I'm Alex Monk, 24-year-old student of political science and economics, Carleton University here in Ottawa, Ontario. Although born and raised in Ottawa, I've traveled across this great country of ours, from Nova Scotia to British Columbia, and I feel I've experienced a large part of what this nation has to offer. Great Prime Ministers of Canada's past, Mackenzie King, Laurier, Pearson, and Trudeau, among others, have been given such a title not necessarily because of what they did while in office, but because of the legacy left by their policies. This is what defines a great leader, someone who can help their nation and their citizens realize their fullest potential. All one has to do is open a political science textbook to be quickly greeted with the standard topics of Canadian governmental reform: proportional representation, how to increase voter turnout, Senate reform, and the power of the Prime Minister's office. I will be talking about none of these things. Instead, I will address a number of topics that will, if I'm chosen as your next Prime Minister, help Canada and Canadians reach their fullest potential on the global stage. In order to meet this challenge, I propose a series of shifts in our economic, social, and political policy. The recent global economic crisis continues to be on the minds of many Canadians. However, it's important that we don't overreact or respond rashly. As Prime Minister, I would work to re-establish a globally competitive research and development industry and use our geographical advantages to develop renewable energy sources such as wind, solar power, and hydrogen, which could be exported to address an impending energy crisis, rather than selling off our natural resources at ever-increasing rates. Finally, I would redirect a percentage of the funds currently devoted to foreign aid towards Canadian Aboriginal communities. We cannot act as an economic or social leader while sections of our own population live under third world conditions. Socially, I would focus on future building in a two-pronged approach. First, by continuing to encourage the development of a grassroots green communities program through improved recycling, encouraging local farmers markets, and better public transportation in our cities. Second, our country's future depends on educated and skilled individuals in the workplace. Accordingly, I would offer financial incentives for students and recent graduates to stay in Canada by forgiving loans and offering tuition credits for those who become productive members of the Canadian labor pool. Also, I would lighten the financial burden for the equivalency or refresher education for immigrants with professional designations, not lowering the academic standards, but rather making it more manageable financially for these skilled people to practice in their field. Politically, I feel the need to rebuild Canada's reputation as a global leader in peacekeeping. In order to achieve this goal, Canada would adopt a conflict resolution policy of peace building, increasing the involvement of civilian support in conflict resolution. Peacekeepers and peace builders must be partners in resolving the conflict in the first place, and then taking it to the stable peace after the conflict. Peace building is a comprehensive process of building relationships that transcend conflict stages. This broad view addresses the need of society ripped apart by war, for it involves rebuilding patterns of coexistence among different ethnic or tribal groups, and therefore provides a more stable and lasting resolution than an armed conflict and occupation. Thanks everybody for taking the time to watch my video. I realize 5 minutes isn't a lot of time to explain in depth a lot of the policies that I've put forward, but I invite anybody to post on my Facebook group or on this board any questions or comments you may have, and I'll be happy to discuss my policies in more detail. Thank you one more time. My name is Alex Monk for Canada's next great Prime Minister.